In this video, we're going to talk about my recent acquisition of a Grail and a lot of helpful information about chasing Grails, buying Grails, how to pick which one, and how to make it a reality for you as well. Stay tuned.
Bry's Comics.
Thank you for tuning in to today's video. If you're new here, we always do a monthly giveaway on my YouTube channel, and I'm filming this a little bit in advance, but on the next video this week, I will announce the winner from April's giveaway. And this month, the new giveaway prize for the YouTube channel is this slab. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, comment on this video, and like this video, and you're entered to win. Also, if you head over to bryscomics.com and sign up for the newsletter, you're entered to win a free slab over there every single month, and this month, it's this slab. So without further ado, the Grail that I finally pulled the trigger on and acquired is Tales of Suspense number 39 and a 2.0 with white pages, the origin and first appearance of Iron Man. So this has been a book that's been on my list ever since I started collecting comic books, and up until this point it was never really within the realm of possibilities for me. And I've been hesitant to do this video because I've watched videos of people unboxing Grails that they've acquired, and you know, sometimes my gut reaction is screw this guy and his Grail and all of his money that he has. He's able to buy these expensive comic books, and so I've been hesitant to do this video, but I think if we frame it correctly, it can be a useful video to other people as well. And the frame that I would like to put on it is that there is opportunity everywhere in this hobby. And if you have been of the mindset that you will never acquire comic books like this, that a $10,000 comic book is out of the realm of possibilities for you, I'm here to tell you that it's not. That you can actually, with a side hustle, selling comics, you have a life, you have a job, and you do other things. Just with the side hustle of selling comics, you could eventually work your way up to owning a $10,000 comic book. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. It just depends on how bad you want it and how much time and energy you're willing to put into it. Because I'll tell you what, I put a ton of time and energy into making deals like this possible for me. I mean, countless hours. My wife would tell you that I never stop thinking about dealing with comic books. It's always on my mind. Of course, I do it for a living now. You know, this isn't something that can just happen, you know, with super casual things. Like, you have to put your mind to it and really put in the work and the hours to actually make it happen. And I've been hustling and grinding really hard to make this happen because it's really, really important to me. Like, I am an avid collector. I'm a diehard comic book fan, and I have it, you know, in my head that I want to acquire all of the Silver Age Grails, and it's going to take me years to do it, years. But to me, it's a worthy pursuit that has a worthy payoff at the end. You know, when I retire or when I pass away, I'll have this, you know, small but powerful collection that I can pass off to my son that will have increased exponentially in value by the time that actually happens. So to me, it's a worthy cause, and I enjoy doing it. I have so much fun along the way. If it felt like work to me, if it felt like just, I've heard people comment in my videos that they quit collecting because it's just too much work. And if it's work for you, then it's not a good hobby. But I think the majority of us and the majority of those watching this video don't feel like it's work. I think that you guys are on board with me in the fact that this hobby is fun and rewarding every step of the way. You know, from even the grind is fun. It's not like regular work. And this channel is all about comic book investment speculation with tips on how to have this hobby fund itself. And I basically lay it out. You know, I lay it out, the process and the steps that you can take to make money selling comics. And you know, you're gonna have to apply yourself, you're gonna have to put the work in, but there's opportunity everywhere. And that's what's so awesome about this hobby, is that nobody has to get screwed. You know, you can sell things, and I actually recommend selling comics that you're not that passionate about to make your profit on, so you can buy the things that you actually love. It's really hard to sell books that you're passionate about. You know, so you can find a niche in the hobby that you're not so passionate about. It makes it easier to sell and flip stuff. But guess what? There are people that are extremely passionate about that little niche. So nobody's getting screwed over. And that's what's so awesome about this hobby. All right, so let's get a closer look at this baby. I want to show you in detail some differences and do some comparisons to some other books and just show why I'm so happy with this 2.0 and the way that it presents. So first of all, you can see there are some small, I would consider this small creasing to the cover, and the small creasing kind of all over the place. This is the most significant of the creases right there. There's also a little bit of staining on the front cover, but it's minimal. And then when you look on the back, that is where the majority of the damage is this massive tape pull that goes all the way from here to here and all the way to here. Now, the thing about the tape pull is, if it wasn't for this tape pull, I wouldn't own this book. If it wasn't for this tape pull, it'd be like a 3.5 or a 4.0, and I would have been priced out and I wouldn't have owned it. Steven probably wouldn't have owned it. So in a weird way, I'm grateful for the tape pull. I'm grateful for where it is on the book. Obviously, I wish it wasn't there, but if it wasn't there, I wouldn't own it. And here's something too, it might be kind of hard to tell, but this CGC case is trying its hardest to damage my prized collectible here. I'm not a fan of CGC cases. I mean, overall, I think CGC cases are good, but they don't protect the books 100%. I think they could absolutely be improved. And one of the things is this inner well is like rounded and smooth, and as you can see, it's bending down that top edge ever so slightly, but it's creating a bend in there. And you can see right there where the front cover, that top part is the front cover, has actually slipped over that inner well. So it's just, the inner well sucks. And here you can see where that the front cover has completely slipped over that top of that inner well. Luckily, it's not bending the front cover, it's not damaging the front cover, it's only damaging the back cover. It wouldn't affect the grade of this book because it's already a 2.0, it's not gonna drop it to a 1.8. And I would just be scared to death to take this thing out of this case at this point. So it's just like, just hold it where it is, don't touch it too much, just be careful, because I don't want that top edge to become bent over. That would be really bad. So just keep it the way it is. So to give it a little comparison here of between some other books. So here's a 4.0, Black Knight, one of my other personal grails, super rare book, very hard to find, huge potential in the MCU. From first glance, I mean, I think that this 2.0 presents like a 4.0 from the front. And so let's do a little side-by-side comparison here. The spines look similar, okay? There's also a lot of wear on the 4.0. The staples are worse on the 2.0, but the staples on this 4.0, this is the Black Knight, they're sunken in there as well. It's not like they're, super tight and stuff. There's also wear around those staples. Now, on the front cover of this, there's also some small creasing, similar to the 2.0. 2.0 is a little bit worse. There's a little bit of soiling on the cover, and on the back, obviously, there is no major tape pull, which is why this is a 4.0. And if we look at it here next to my 2.5 Fantastic Four #1, I would say that the 2.0 presents better than the 2.5. In the 2.5, the main thing holding this back is right here is a piece out. All right, so that's what's the main thing holding this back. There's also a ton of creasing on this book that could be really improved, and soiling and stuff that can be improved. On the back, we have some smudging and some wrinkles that could be improved, but I've decided to never crack this out. There's just too much risk involved. There's not too much upside. But I just wanted to show a comparison here on how a 2.0 can present as well as a 4.0 and better than a 2.5. There's a lot of nuance with these lower grade books, and it makes a big impact on the final price and value of the book. One other thing I wanted to show you is this is an old case for the Fantastic Four #1 and a new case. And look at the difference in the cases. I mean, you can tell that the newer case is way more crystal clear than the old case. These old cases are just, you know, they're old plastic and they're just not as crystal clear as the new ones. Also, the inner well of the old cases, they just turn ever so slightly yellow, right? They just get like this browning or yellowing of the inner thing, which just takes away from the overall pop of the book. You can see how this one just pops a little bit more and how this one just pops a little bit more. So I would like to get this this recased. So I got this book from Steven at Minor Keys Comics over on Instagram. If you guys aren't following him over there, go give him a follow. He has some amazing books. He's an awesome member of the community. And this came up, you know, it has came up that he had this during a live sale. He hosts live sales for me. I hosted a live sale for him once. And it came up once that he had a 2.0 TOS 39 white pages that presents like a 4.0, and I'm foaming at the mouth. I'm like, what? Let me see that thing. He showed it to me and I was in love instantly. I said, how much do you want for it? He said, I've turned down $10,000. I've turned down $9,000. I said, man, I would so be in at $9,000. At the time, he wasn't ready to sell. And at the time, I actually didn't have $9,000, but it kept coming up in conversation. And then at one point, you know, I decided that if I could move some other books in my personal collection to make it happen, that I absolutely would. I was hosting a live sale for him. I said, why don't you throw up that TOS 39 for $9,000? He mentioned he was going to a con, he needed some money, and he said, you know, if you want it for $9,000, I'll do it for $9,000. I said, claim. Right there in the claim sale, there was 30 witnesses, you know, of people on that chat that were like, damn, you just bought a $9,000 book. And later that night, I was like, where do I send the money? And I kind of felt like he was kind of like, damn, did he really actually claim it? And I did, and he told me, you know, hey, a claim's a claim. All those people saw it and told me where to send the money. I sent the money instantly. He shipped it instantly. Next thing you know, it's in my possession. And one thing that was really, really funny about this is that he posted a picture on Instagram of him driving with this book in his passenger seat with the seatbelt on it. And I was doing the exact same thing at the exact same time with the book that I was moving from my personal collection to make this sell happen. It was just totally serendipitous. And I was selling my Giant Size X-Men #1, 8.0 signed by Stan Lee. I sold it for $8,000. Subscriber to the channel and who I consider a friend at this point. We've done so many deals. And she decided to buy the book at just exactly the right time that I was making this deal happen. I don't want to make this video about comparing those two books because it's really not what this video is about, and I really didn't have that thought process in it. You know, I didn't say, I knew that my Giant Size X-Men signed by Stan Lee was worth somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000. I know that book has a lot of future potential. It's in a dip right now. I know that this book is worth somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000. It also has a lot of potential, but I didn't really approach it with that thought process. It wasn't like, which is very rare for me, because usually I do approach things with, you know, an investment mindset and, you know, this totally calculated mindset, but this was just, what do I have in my personal collection that I can move for around $9,000 so I can make this happen? And the Giant Size X-Men was the thing that's on the chopping block. Not because I don't love that book, not because I wouldn't love to have that book in my personal collection, it's just that I would much prefer to have this book in my personal collection. The opportunity just hardly ever presents itself for you to get a 2.0 white pages that presents like a 4.0. So let's hop into the computer and talk about pricing and the differences in pricing for these low-grade grails. All right, so here we are in GPA, and here you can see the 1.5, the most recent sale was last month for $8,000. Here's a 1.8 that sold this month for $7,800. So I see these ones creeping up and holding steady, and even a 1.8 here sold for $9,000. And then here we have the 2.0. The last sale was $10,100, and the sale before that was $8,200. As you can see, this book is just on an upward trajectory, no correction whatsoever with the market boom and correction that we saw in a lot of books. And so that's why I felt so comfortable at $9,000. I felt like it was a steal, especially, you know, considering that it had white pages and presents like a 4.0. So here we have some other grades. Here's a 2.5. The last sale was $6,300, but that was back in July. So a couple things. One, somebody got a good deal in July of last year. And if a 2.5 came up for sale, one hasn't even, it's been almost a year and we haven't got another 2.5 that sold publicly. And then a 3.0 sold for $13,000. A 3.5 also sold for $13,000. And a 4.0 sold for $13,000. So that's what's really interesting here is that, first of all, Someone got a steal on this 4.0, but you'll find that a lot with 3.0, 3.5, and 4.0. Oftentimes the price is comparable, at least. And that's one of my recommendations, is if you're after a big grail, is be patient. Be patient, okay? They do come up for sale more often in this range, because if we look over here at the census, the majority of books for Tales of Suspense 39 at least, are between 2.5 and 5.0. So these are the grades that change hands the most. So you're most likely to get a deal on one of these books. As you go up in grade here, they get more and more scarce, more and more coveted, a different breed and set of buyers, and the prices just absolutely skyrocket around the 6.0, 7.0 range. And as you go below, there's less copies. There's even less of these lower grade copies that present really well. And so this is the highest, amount of buyers are able to afford this range. So when you get to a 2.0, 1.8, 1.5, 1.0, and 0.5, the presentation, you'll see this huge disparity often in the price, because the presentation between 2.0 and the next can be very, very different. And so that's why you see such price swings. You can't just look at the numbers to gauge a good price for these. You have to look at the actual copies that sold. So like click into the actual listing and see, okay, this one was cream to off-white, and see how it presents and things like that. This one actually looks pretty good, but it is a cream, which, to me isn't that important. Like, it's a major bonus to get the white pages. I don't know that I would pay a premium for white pages. I think maybe a small premium, but it's not like super important to me where I would pay like this huge premium for white pages. One thing that's important to consider is that, the cover is detached on this one. So that is why it looks so good. And you'll see right here on the label, it actually says cover detached. So that's important to people a lot of times. I mean, when you look at a 2.0 and it has cream pages and the cover's detached, like that's basically, two strikes against it, versus another 2.0 that has no notes, like no tape, the cover's firmly attached, it has white pages or off-white pages. I mean, you can see why it would be possible for it to really have a difference in grade. And one of the things that's really important to me is that there's no notes like coverage attached or tape on cover and things like that. And so as we go up in grade here, you see a 4.5, the last sale was $14,000. And then you go up to a 5.0, and the last sale was $20,000. And we're just trending up. Here we go to a 5.5, $22,000. And here's where the real big price jump comes. 6.0 was $14,000, but that was back in July, and a 6.5, $33,000. So this is where the big jump starts to happen, is between the 6 and the 7. Here, 7.0 is $50,000, and anything higher than that, good night. You're just setting records every time. So that presents an interesting opportunity, this huge price discrepancy between a 6 and a 7, which stay tuned for a future video while I dive deeper into that. All right, so let's take a peek into the actual story, the actual Tales of Suspense 39, and take a look at Iron Man. All right, so here we have Tales of Suspense 39. There's this iconic cover. Here's the splash page, the first appearance of Iron Man in comics. Iron Man is Born by Stan Lee, script by Larry Lieber, art by Don Heck, and lettering by Art Simek. And here we have the first page where Tony Stark is demonstrating to the army official that his new inventions and how powerful they are. And here we have him on the beach, which I just love. And this chick goes, "Look, there's Tony Stark." And this other girl says, "He's the dreamiest thing this side of Rock Hudson." And the other girl says, "The Riviera was a real drag until you showed up, darling." I mean, just look at him over there, just such an awesome character, just such a cool twist that they're just unapologetic about who Tony Stark was, and they were true to it in the movies, and he's an awesome character, right? And so here we have the first appearance of Wong Chu, and Wong Chu is a Vietnamese red gorilla tyrant. And what's interesting about this is they send Tony Stark to Vietnam to try to help with the red gorillas. They're outnumbered, and use some of his tech. And Tony Stark actually trips on a booby trap and gets the shrapnel in his chest. And look at this text right here. You certainly couldn't do these. You certainly couldn't talk like this in comics these days. Yankee civilian still alive. Him may be important official of government. I bring him to Wang Chu. Maybe get reward. I mean, it's just a sign of the times, right? This was the 60s, just different times. And here we have Wang Chu, who they take Tony Stark prisoner. They set him up in this room with all this equipment and say, make me a powerful weapon. And what's so crazy about this story, I mean, it's not crazy, is this is exactly what played out in the first Iron Man movie, except they just switched the country and the roles and, you know, and that kind of thing. But it's the same story. So it's just really interesting, you know, that how true they were to the source material. And here you can see the first iteration, Mark 1, of the Tony Stark Iron Man suit, which they were also very true to in the movie, and the rest is history, you guys. I'm not going to read the entire story. I'm so glad that they paid homage to the original source material. It always blows my mind that the original source material from the 60s holds up, you know, with these minor tweaks. And you know, that's the story on this book. And I'll be honest with you guys, when I opened this book, when I unpacked it, I felt like a little intimidated by it. I was like, whoa, like this is the cover of the book that I've seen so many times, and I was like kind of nervous. I put it away in a box and I just sat with it for a while, for weeks. Like I didn't put it on the wall, I didn't do this video, because I just felt like there was an emotional thing going on between me and this book. So, like it just brought up a lot of stuff for me. Now I'm able to hold it and enjoy it, but for a minute there I was like totally like intimidated by it. It was a weird thing that's never happened to me before with a comic. And now, you know, I'm so happy to own it. Thank you so much to Steven at Minor Keys Comics for the awesome deal. Thank you so much to you guys for all your support, for coming along with me on this wild ride. And thank you as always for sticking with me to the end of the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
GRAIL Comics.